Exasperating, Elite Protection Services, written by Onley James, narrated by DiCosimo. Prologue. Robby. This was the worst part of his day, the chapel. Obi didn't know why they called it a chapel when it was really a barn. It smelled like sweat and manure and moldy straw, and there weren't even any animals. It was always dark, even in the daytime, like now. The only light came from the sun shining between the wooden boards that made up the walls and the spots where the black paint had peeled away from the windows. He pushed his brown hair from his eyes with grimy hands, his fingers cracked and bleeding from digging up rocks the day before. The overalls he wore were too big and rolled up at the ankles. The soft blue shirt he wore with the same white plastic buttons was also too big, but his mother had tacked the sleeves up over his elbows so he wouldn't have to keep pushing them up while he worked. He'd started off the morning in his brother's old work boots, but he'd wiggled them off the moment the storm clouds had blotted out the sun. At the front of the church, his mother stood in a dress the same gray-blue as the overcast sky outside. The wind was kicking up a fuss, whistling through the gaps in the planks and causing the rickety building to groan. None of the grown-ups seemed worried about the safety of the building, but Obi had his doubts. He wasn't sure what was worse, staying outside digging up rocks all day, or kneeling on the concrete floor reciting Bible verses. Maybe they were equally bad. The adults of the congregation were already in place, on their knees with hands raised as they whispered hissed prayers that made Obi think of 1,000 vipers. He didn't understand any of it. His older sister Sarah said it wasn't for him to understand. They just needed to have faith. Faith in what? Obi didn't know. God? He was only 12, but he was pretty sure God wasn't out there in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, watching his mother pour uncooked rice on the cement floor. All the children of the congregation stood with him in a line from oldest to youngest. 7 of the 13 kids were his siblings. His brother Daniel was the youngest at just 4 years old. The pastor, Samuel, stood in a pair of black pants and an untucked black shirt, his long, brownish-blonde hair falling to his shoulders. He watched as Obi's mother drew a line with the rice all the way down the row of children. When she finished, Samuel stepped forward, starting with the oldest in the line, his 17-year-old sister, Rebecca. "How are you, sweet Rebecca?" Samuel asked, kissing her knuckles. His sister giggled. "Well, Brother Samuel, and you?" He laughed. "I am also well. Even though it is dark skies outside, the light of the Lord shines down on us all. Does it not?" "Yes, Brother Samuel." "Now, sweet Rebecca, please recite Leviticus 19:15. Rebecca closed her eyes and squinted. "You shall do no injustice in court. You shall not be partial to the poor or defer to the great, but in righteousness shall you judge your neighbor." "Excellent, child, excellent. Please go kneel with the rest of the congregation." Rebecca pivoted, a smug smile on her face, her white dress twirling around her, one strand of her long brown hair escaping its bun. Down the line Samuel went. Obi's 16-year-old brother, Abel, his 15-year-old sister, Sarah, and his 14-year-old brother, Jacob, all recited their verses without incident. When he got to 13-year-old Ruth, his demeanor changed. Samuel's brown eyes narrowed and his mouth flattened as he stared at the freckle-faced girl with her frizzy ginger hair and her white dress that looked dingy gray from wear. "Ruth, your mother says she found you playing in the sunflower fields again. You know we never go past the fence line. You are a stubborn and ornery child, and you are confined to your room for the next 3 days. Now, recite Romans 13:4. Ruth's eyes grew round and welled with tears. "For he is God's servant for good, but—" Obi's insides slithered at the barest hint of a smile on the old man's face. He didn't understand why Rebecca thought he was nice. There was something so wrong about him. He ordered people around, made them work all day while he did nothing. Rebecca wasn't the only one. Both his parents always went out of their way to please Samuel in all things. They said he was a servant of God, and his word was God's word, but that didn't make sense to Obi. Wasn't God's word...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?